Hey nerds, and welcome to Supergirl, Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. This week we had the episode Luthors, and as entertaining as the episode was, not too much happened really. The most interesting things were the little tag at the end and everything we got to see in the Luthor Vault. So, jumping into the Luthor Vault, we got to see some iconic items from past episodes, the axe, things like that. But I think what was the biggest kind of Easter egg for fans was the power armor. This is kind of the standard weapon that Lex Luthor has used against Superman in the comics and different animated versions. It's something that you rarely see him without. That green and purple color scheme. It's pretty iconic for Lex Luthor, that power armor. Now then, the other thing from there, and we're going to talk about later, was the small box that the mother took, and that she commented that he had finished it. And I'll give you some theories on what could be in that box in a little bit. But I think one of the things that isn't in the vault that did make an appearance this episode that was kind of pretty unique and a big point to plot in the episode was the synthetic kryptonite. Now, we saw that it wasn't as stable as actual kryptonite, and we saw it's failing, but I think synthetic kryptonite, because this is a big thing in the comics, if you've seen Superman, I want to say 2 or 3, it's the one with Richard Pryor, they make some synthetic kryptonite, and it causes Superman to go evil. And we've seen different versions of kryptonite on the show. We've seen that kind of red synthetic kryptonite that Max Lord made, but the fact that there was some green synthetic kryptonite that was used to power Corbin was pretty substantial. So that was cool. It was really, I really kind of wish we had seen more in the vault, but again, that little box is something that is going to come into play. So next, what is in that box? This is hard because we really don't have any information outside of it's something that Lex finished working on. We don't know if that means it's something he repaired or if it's something he made from scratch, but some of the options and things out there that especially are iconic to Lex Luthor or revolve around him. One of his most iconic things outside of the power armor is a kryptonite ring. He wore this in order to keep Superman away from him, keep him weaker. When he became president, Batman actually confronted Luthor and threatened him, saying, you can have the presidency or you can have the kryptonite ring, but not both. And Batman left empty-handed at that point, but he had basically put it out there and made the threat to Luthor. Kryptonite's been around. Obviously, you have Kara confident that Superman has gotten rid of all of the kryptonite on the planet, or at least has it all. But since we did see the synthetic kryptonite this episode, it's possible that the ring was a version of what we know from the comics, and it just it used a different form of his synthetic kryptonite, not necessarily the version that they put in Corbin, maybe a more stable version. But that's one option. The other option that is likely is that it's a mother box, or at least a analog to that. Maybe there was a mother box found on Earth and he was repairing it, trying to fix it, and that's what was in that case. No way of knowing. It would be remarkable if it was, because that opens up a lot of different story options with Apocalypse and the New Gods and that whole world. But at the moment, we don't really know. I think what's interesting is we've learned about this worldwide network of storehouses that Lex Luthor has, and the possibility of what could be in those and other things that Cadmus will now have access to. So that's pretty cool, and I'm excited for what we're going to learn there. What do you guys think is in the box, though? What do you think was so exciting that was finished? Because really, that seemed to be the big thing they were going for in there. That just kind of looking at what was in there. But that little box was clearly the most significant. Next, Mr. Mxyzptlk, if that's how you say it. The people pronounce his name all crazy ways, but he was created to appear originally in 1944 in Superman number 30. He was created by writer Jerry Siegel and artist Ira Yarbrough, but because of some publishing issues, he actually appeared first in the newspaper comic strip. Now, he is an imp or trickster from the 5th dimension. He is notorious for tormenting Superman and spending time just harassing him because he's like fascinated by him. And we got a glimpse of that at the very end when he appeared and said he was in love with Supergirl. Now, because he is from the fifth dimension, there were rules about how he could be in this universe, and essentially, if he was either tricked into saying his name backwards or spelling it backwards or anything like that, he would be sent back to the fifth dimension, and he could not return to the third dimension for a minimum of 90 days. Now, he can manipulate reality to his heart's content. He can do whatever he wants. By third dimension observation and laws of physics, he appears to be a god, like an omnipotent god. But there's some confusion of whether he is a fifth dimension wizard or he's just using technology from the fifth dimension that gives him that abilities and makes him appear in that kind of magician, godlike state. So he's a really interesting character. He's quirky. If you're familiar with the character Batmite, he's similar to Mxyzptlk. I'll get better at saying his name after next week's episode. But he's definitely an interesting character. As far as plot for the show goes, this may just be a filler episode. Not that it won't be fun and there won't be a lot of great stuff, but it's not going to be pushing the Cadmus storyline necessarily. It'll just be fun and probably frustrating for Kara to have this character tormenting her. So, what did you guys think of this week? Do you think Lena is actually a good guy, or do you think she's a bad guy who's been manipulating Kara and playing her, and she's really got this kind of long end game plan that we're going to see slowly develop? Because they're very careful about not letting us, the audience, know one way or another, because they have these shots that's like, oh, she's really bad, these flashbacks. What do you guys think? What do you think is in the box? What do you think was Lex's invention that really just kind of is a game changer? Because that's really the best way to describe it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and don't forget to check out my other stuff. I've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. theories and Flash theories, and I've got a weekly podcast, so make sure to check that out. Head over to the website at goodnerdbadnerd.com. And until next week, guys, this has been Brian from Supergirl Theories and Conspiracies.